So to address your whole 50 dates, 50 men, and we won't linger on it too long because we kind of talked about it last show. Yeah. I think you know my thoughts on it. If I were to go on a date with a girl and she were to disclose to me that she was doing this and that she had 7 dates planned ahead of me, I would end the date right there and be like, enjoy the rest of your dates, because that's
right. But she did say that when she found that guy, she was like, okay, I canceled the rest of the dates.
Yeah.
Right, but
how do you feel about that?
Look, it's great that it sounds like it, at the end of the day, it worked for her. Granted, the 3 men she did find, it didn't end up working, but I would say that there is a decent cohort of men when if they find out that you have a date planned for after them, or you have 7 dates lined up, that's immediately like, I'm thinking, goodbye.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you feel the same, like Andrew Tate gives this advice as like a dating strat for men to like intentionally try to line up a couple of girls typically on the same night? Because he's like all about maximum efficiency. Do you have like the same feeling of like, that's really not okay? Like if you're dating for intention, why are you like lining up people?
It's not okay so much whether it's okay or not. It's more so,
if your name was Brianna, would that be like a big no for you if you went on a date with Andrew and he had like somebody booked after you?
It's not so much whether it's okay or not. I mean, if some guys might go on a date with her and they might be going on multiple dates themselves, they might not object to it. But I mean, in your specific example, I think if women would object to dating a man who has a date right after them or lined up dates, I have no issue with women having the standard of, if you're seeing that many men, then I wouldn't want to pursue you. It's not worth my time. You seem like you're just kind of playing the field, whatever it is.
But isn't there kind of a difference though? So in the case of a man, if he's going out on 50 different dates with 50 different women, that actually seems like it might be a pretty good strategy to try to find a woman. Whereas women, the standard is upheld differently, and maybe it should be, because you kind of think, well, maybe she's easier, maybe she's, kind of this type of thing. Whereas when it comes to men, I don't think that even gives that appearance necessarily, because men aren't the gatekeepers of sex. Women are.
But I mean, certain men get like, I'm sure we've all, because like guys talk about how like men have to earn to be able to have sex, but then it's like every girl has a story or has friends with a story of dating a broke loser. So it's kind of like, if a man has a certain amount of confidence, he could be the gatekeeper of sex.
But there's
like
also
men sex still sometimes.
They really can't be. So most single men, if it's like available to them, will take it.
That's what I said. There's this thing where I heard, and it was a woman will fuck who she wants,
right,
and a man will fuck who he can.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. The issue is like we keep talking about women sleeping with unvirtuous men, and so it's like, I don't care if you're a guy who can get on one date or 50. Wouldn't a virtuous man, if we're like caring about this, even if he has the capacity to get 50 dates, wouldn't he still elect to just go for one? Because good men should also be vetting the women.
Well, I'm not sure about maybe in the same day, but what's the lack of virtue here? I mean, if they're just going on dates.
Men have sexual discipline.
I would agree, but I would say that it's the same for the woman. I don't think it's obvious to me, especially if she's not sleeping with them, right? She's just going on a first date. I don't know how that's, unless she's like only going on dates to get like free food or something like that, which I think some girls
they do.
I would also like to clarify, I did not get free food. At least half of these dates I paid for. One guy made me pay for half of his meal, and I didn't even eat. I was so mad.
I mean,
he went Dutch, and I had to pay for his meal.
The issue is like, what's unethical here isn't the women going on multiple dates. It's her like doing sleazy shit around it, trying to get free food from him. So it's a lie, right? She's lying to him. She's saying, I'm interested in going on a date. She's actually just trying to like basically get some of his money and get a free meal, which is bad, right? Lying's bad, I would probably assume.
I don't think either one is like unethical, but I could understand the discomfort with it personally, because it's like, oh, if I'm going on a date, I just want to like enjoy my time with that person. And I feel like if the person's telling me like, I have 7 or 9 dates lined up, now that puts a weird pressure on me. That makes me just want to retract and be like, you know what, like have fun on your
doing
dates.
swell.
Yeah, but
like,
I mean,
don't mention that on this one.
Yeah, like it's just a lot of pressure.
If the woman goes on 50 dates though, and she can probably stop and say, okay, I'd like to continue to date you, and whoever that guy is will probably agree to do that. That's not going to necessarily be the same way the other direction. That's the problem.
I agree, but that's because I think men and women actually vet differently. So it's kind of like, have you ever heard the saying, it's easy to get a guy to agree to be your boyfriend and impossible to get him to agree to be your husband? I think
I've never heard that, but
I've never heard
Okay,
that.
I agree though.
there's always this trope of like men will date you, but they won't marry you, right? And I think there's a complicating factors of why men won't marry you, but I think a lot of men will kind of take what they can get because in large part they vet the woman in the relationship itself. I think a lot more men will walk away from their girlfriend than they will from like a random date because men do have to like throw their net really wide, but women have to vet in a different way. Women have to vet by like having a really narrow net. So in the case of Alexa, she's going on 50 dates, especially in the case you're not sleeping with them, you're not like kissing a lot of them. In this case, she's just maximizing vetting people because vetting people over horrible dating apps is the worst experience ever. So it's just like different strategies in vetting. I don't think one's inherently more like pernicious than the other unless they're doing pernicious things on top of it.
If anything, it's worse when the man does it if we're talking about sleeping with all of them because men tend to lack sexual discipline and are way more likely to do it. And that's another thing too. I feel like we act like, well, men are just going to take what they get, so that sexual discipline, like that's a virtue for a man too, to be able to, hold himself to a standard and not sleep with every single man.
It's virtuous for men to hold themselves to virtuous standards, and that includes, backing away from sexual intercourse with random women and doing, that type of thing. I agree that that's true. I'm just saying that women in that situation, they have the control apparatus, okay? They always have the control apparatus, except in maybe like super exceptional cases where the guy is a fucking millionaire, rock star or something like this.
Council
They essentially, women are going to be the determiners.
Andrew, happy St. Andrew's Day. You're invited to join the Council of Andrews. Check out andrewsonly.com. Ladies, do you agree that Andrew is the best name? We have a scholarship for Andrews and Dreas.
Okay.
No, Andrew is like the most common name.
I lost my virginity to an Andrew.
Oh.
Wow.